It's 5 o'clock. Izard County Quorum Court's now in session. Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Justice Sanders.
Here.
Justice Hatman.
Here.
Justice Sherrill. Justice Mosier.
Here.
Justice Miller.
Here.
Justice Thornton.
Here.
Justice Cohn.
Here.
Justice Cooper.
Here.
Justice Emmons.
Here. All right, we could stand for prayer and pledge allegiance. Warren, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for this opportunity to come together tonight and be with each and every one of us as we come to do the county's business, and help us to make the right decisions, Lord, for our citizens and people of Izard County. And be with those that can't be here tonight, be with those who are ill, and watch over them and help them heal, Lord. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading of the minutes from last month.
Izard County Quorum Court met in regular session on Monday, August the 5th at 5 p.m. Justice Sanders, Hatman, Sherrill, Mosier, Miller, and Emmons were present. The minutes of the July meeting were read and approved on motion by Justice Emmons and seconded by Justice Sherrill, with all in favor. Appropriation Ordinance 2024-17 was tabled until next meeting on a motion by Justice Sanders and seconded by Justice Hatman, with all in favor. Judge Smith delivered the road report for July, and with no other business, the court adjourned at 5:39 p.m. on a motion by Justice Miller and seconded by Justice Sanders.
Heard the reading of the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say likewise. Comments from the audience? Did y'all notice the handrail coming up? Got pigs the other day, so. I noticed it going down. Yeah, we got it big.
Those pizza institutions yesterday that they are here.
All right, so the first thing on the agenda is, ordinance that's been tabled twice. Do we want to?
It's been read twice?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not been voted on any, except for table. Do we want to just do some discussion on it to see if we want to move forward on it? Anybody want him to because we'll have to read it again for he can vote, before we can vote, so.
May I read a statement? Or am I out of order?
I mean, if the quorum court's got anything, let's,
Bradley was gonna look at a couple of those questions that he had last week. Did you?
I did. I responded to Justice Miller. I believe the state can require the county to pay, even though the state may not reimburse. I believe, according to the law, as it's been amended in 2023, I believe they have to be paid $125 per meeting, per election, up to 10 meetings. And then past 10 meetings, it's $25 a meeting. I pulled so I sent you a book from, I believe it's Arkansas election, some kind of state election commission.
Yes, election commission.
And it said, and it also says that they have to be paid $125 for every meeting, up to 10. But they don't say per election. But when you look at the law, it says per election, and there could be more than one election in a year.
Up to 10, I think was correct. Up to 10. What's that?
Up to 10 per election. Which it could be, there could be an election in the spring, and there could be an election, I guess, school board, special. There could be 20 or 30 meetings that you'd have to pay them at $125. my reading of it. Unless y'all have, well, that's a different section of the law, another question. There is a question of, instead of having to pay them for hourly work outside of the meeting, you could have a county employee designated to do it, pay them at least, well, federal minimum wage, but you pay whatever minimum wage is effectively here.
It said federal minimum wage, didn't it?
Said federal, but,
It's $7.25
but
an
I
hour.
think ours is
Ours is
more than that.
Right, I agree.
So we'd have to pay them, pay them wherever Arkansas minimum wage was. But if federal minimum wage is ever over Arkansas, we'd have to up it even over Arkansas, federal minimum wage.
One of my questions, the $125, I agree, 100% we need to pay it. We need to move on with that. $125 means that's what the law says, that's what we need to do. We pay an election coordinator $7,500, $8,000 a year, I don't know what it is. We pay someone, which I thought the reason we done that was to help offset, so that we didn't have to pay someone else to do it. We pay someone currently. So now we're wanting to pay them, plus we're wanting to pay everybody else on the commission an extra 40 hours here and 40 hours there. You know, up to 200 hours a year, I think it said. On top of that, but we're already paying somebody to do that. That's my only concern with the whole deal. We're paying someone to do it. We're out of budget. The election commission is out of budget right now. And they're asking us to pay them more money out of salary, which we pay someone, which my understanding, it had been up until recently, so that they would do those things. To do the things that we're asking to pay extra for now. And I agree with the 125, we ought to pay it. My question is, and we may be required by law, it says that we can pick somebody between 0 and 40 hours. I guess my question is, I hate to put more money into something when you're already out of budget. You know, hey, we're gonna pay them more. When we are paying someone to do those things, you know, the election coordinator, we're providing them someone so that we don't have to do those things. You know, I feel like we're providing an election coordinator. They say we're not a county employee, but it costs us $7,500, $8,000 a year. If it's not, we don't need to pay that, and we'll pay them the 40 hours. You know, that's where I struggle.
If you have somebody in mind, there's some election commissioners, I guess we have all of them here? Two.
You know, and I don't know,
They're gonna have to approve that person.
Right, yeah, no,
That's the real thing. Y'all can appoint somebody that works already at the clerk's office.
Right.
They're gonna have to approve that. You know, 2 out of 3 votes.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it.
And I don't know if they will or not.
Yeah, but do we have to pay the $15 an hour to all the others if we're providing somebody? It says if we provide somebody, which we're paying for someone.
If you provide somebody and they approve that person.
Okay, but do we? Okay.
So right now you're providing somebody, but they're not approving the person.
Correct. That's my question.
That's where the hiccup is.
You know, when we're out of budget, that's another issue. Where's that budget at, when you know, Brett?
Yeah, to date, we're at $119,000 in expenditures for the election. We've received 0 in reimbursements. We budgeted $100,000. 4 years ago, the last presidential election, we spent $58,000. That's Bradley, and I'll just go ahead and say that's my concern. Number one, I didn't know that the state of Arkansas could dictate what the counties had to pay unless they were willing to pony up money. And I get it, in the primaries they were going to reimburse us, and by all means, I want to pay them the max. But the way I read this law, if you read the one the state of Arkansas put out, that was their guidelines. We will reimburse the counties up to this amount. Doesn't say you have to. Obviously, you would want to, because you're going to get reimbursed for it. But when you come to the general,
And what are you reading from? I mean, which one are you reading from?
The one that was passed in June of 2024, where they state this is what we will all they're stating, all the law is stating is that this is the max we'll reimburse you. You can pay them more, you can pay them less, but this is what we'll reimburse you for. They're not saying that this is what you have to.
74111 says each member of a county board of election commissioners shall receive for his or her services the sum of not less than $125 per public meeting, when official business is conducted up to a total of 10 meetings for an election.
Okay, so the state's telling the counties that that's what we gotta pay them, but what if the county can't afford to do that? I mean, we're in the middle of budget season right now, and we spent $120,000 on the primary, and we still gotta go through the general. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do next year and the next year. If we're gonna give the election at this rate, $200,000, we're gonna have to cut some funds somewhere else to make that work.
I agree. I don't know.
I mean, it just, to me, it seems like it's become a part-time job for a lot of folks on the county's dime.
Well, I think we need to pay the $125.
Well, I have no doubt, it's because the state's giving it back to us in
No, I think that we
primaries.
need to do that. 100%.
How much is the general election gonna cost us? Does anybody know?
I don't know if y'all know.
Anybody got an idea of what the general election's gonna cost us? Election commissioners, y'all know?
Probably gonna be about the same as the primary.
I'd like
So
to-
$120,000?
So you're gonna have.
$240,000 for the election this
You're
year.
gonna have 2 polling places open for 2 weeks for early voting, 1 polling place open for 1 week of early voting, and all the other voting centers open on election day.
Well, we missed that budget. Big time.
Could I get a printout of this?
You bet, give me 5 seconds, I'll get it for you.
Why is there such an increase from 4 years ago to,
Well,
please explain that to me.
we did raise their minimum wage, so we did go up to $15 an hour on poll workers.
But we done that
Were they
last
making
year.
two?
We done that before the budget.
Yeah.
That wasn't this year.
Well, it was in the general before the budget. So this is the first budget we've had.
We gave them a raise last year and we knew it.
Do y'all know?
Yes, and I did
Do
raise the
y'all know why
budget
there's such a big difference?
20,000, but I missed it.
You know,
Big time.
the state come out and they said that every polling place had to have 2 supervisors.
So,
we will do what you need us to do on our end and keep the poll workers at polling places down to a minimum. We don't load them up.
We have to have 4
You have to have 4 by
workers
law.
at every polling place.
4 workers plus 2 supervisors?
No,
Yeah.
the 2,
The 2 supervisors plus 4 poll workers.
So, sorry, so 6 people.
Yeah. So it's gotta be 6 people.
that's not something we mandated.
I understand, just trying to understand.
That
Yeah,
may be
that's
an
what they
increase.
said. The other thing is, you all were talking about, having a county employee do that. The election commissioners have to certify the polling place when it opens. We have to go there, we have to set it up, we have to set up the tablets, we have to set up the tabulators and the voting machines and all of that. And then we have to certify that it's been done. So, I don't believe the county employee can do that. What we did have last time around was we had y'all's guy drop off the equipment, help move the equipment with the truck. And that saved us, that saved a lot of time, it saved you guys a lot of money.
I had Billy do that.
Yeah.
We
So-
did have to pay for a U-Haul trailer.
Right, but it saved you a lot of money, cause at that point, all we had to do, and we're supposed to get $15 an hour to do that. And at that point, what we had to do was go to each polling place, and you could do 3 or 4 in a day. Cause it takes a couple hours to set up each one. So, that was another, I guess you call it gray area,
Except we're double over budget. I mean, we're nowhere close.
Yeah, I understand what you're.
I mean, this is like the most expensive one we've ever done in the history.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to
And they ain't getting.
And I'm trying to figure out why we need to throw more money in to have it done. We used to not have to pay to have those set up and things like that. I mean, and I do not mean this
No, I
negative
know,
whatsoever.
I know.
Becky Booth used to work for the county. She took care of all of it.
Mhm.
And we didn't have any of these extra that we gotta pay this person more and this person more, for all these things that were going on. They took care of it down there in that office.
Mhm.
And for some reason, we got to where the $50,000 election till now it's a $60,000 or a $120,000 election. I'm just trying to figure out why it's twice as much. We missed the budget by, or y'all did, whoever.
I did, that was me, I went about $20,000 higher than what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just, because it's just a guess.
Well, I understand, but why would it be How can you miss it double?
I don't know.
I mean, how can it be twice as much as it ever was? Then they're gonna need more money to go ahead and pay them to do these things that I thought we were paying an election coordinator to do. You know,
Now, did we
that
have a
was the whole deal,
runoff?
we were paying somebody to do all this.
Did we have a runoff in this primary? We did have a runoff, so that,
You know, runoffs add to it.
Right.
Because now you have to open up polling places for the runoffs. And we only put the polling places to the runoffs where that
Happened.
was.
Yeah.
In other words, I didn't open Ruthie Mountain when it was down in Mount Pleasant.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
we opened Ozarka and Ruthie Mountain for that runoff, and that was it, to help keep costs and everything else like that down. We are conscious of what we're doing that, you know, we're not wasting money,
David, I have a question.
okay?
I'm gonna ask you this on behalf of the Quorum Corps. And what my responsibility is here for you and everybody else is, I represent the Quorum Corps, not the county judge, not any of Warren, you know, Joe, any of the sheriff, any of the elected officials, just Quorum Corps. And on behalf of them, would you, and I can ask you this because we're in a public forum, would you support letting the Quorum Corps appoint a person and pay a person, for example, that works in the clerk's office to do these things that Ms. Booth used to do?
That would be something that would have to be discussed among the commission. You know, as far as me, I would have to sit down and take a look at it. You know, before I could say whether or not I would support it.
That would save the county a lot of money.
It saves a ton of money. I mean, that's what we used to do. And here's the deal is, I don't want y'all to think I'm trying to pick somebody, because I don't care who you pick. Anyone within the courthouse system that's here from 8:30 to 4:30. I don't care if it's in that office over there. I don't care if it's downstairs. I don't care where they're at. But if it'll save us, I mean, we have spent a record amount of money doing these extra things, you know? And I would love to figure out how to get back to where, and I don't care who it is. I mean, that's not my deal, but if we're paying someone, give someone within the courthouse a stipend that will do those things, and I can come here and ask a question about an election. Right now, I can't come here and ask a question about election, because there's no one here. There's no one here to answer those questions.
Yeah, we have phone numbers, but, you know, what you're saying you may think that in theory, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that employee off what they're doing now and put him to do something else, and who's gonna do what they're doing now?
Maybe we have enough
You know what I'm
downtime in
saying?
there, they can do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes in county government, there's a little bit of room in there to play with. Maybe somebody's capable of doing those things.
Well, I was in business, and if I took the dozer operator off the dozer and put him on the excavator, and
Yep.
I had to get somebody else to run the dozer.
Yeah, no, I get you.
You know
No,
what I'm saying?
do we
I'm
have
a
a
business
job
person.
description for, each position?
What do you mean job description?
Well, I mean, the duties of election commissioner, election coordinators, that might help, the Quorum Board understand.
You wanna explain to the judge what you do?
It would help the Quorum Board understand what your duties are of coordinator.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Yeah, and I just wanna add, you know, you all were talking about, how much money you spent. We put in reimbursement for the state, and we haven't gotten it yet. You're gonna get most of that money back, it's not gonna cost you, you know, it may cost you the difference in what the state allows you to pay each poll worker and what you agreed to pay each poll worker.
Right.
That
So
is-
$3 an hour.
The county's gonna pay that.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
All right, but you're gonna get, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe you're gonna get $12.50 an hour back from the state to each poll worker.
I think that's great.
So it's gonna cost you $2.50 an hour, that's the raise you gave them, and that was nice, cause now it's attractive and it's easier to get people to do it.
Right, yeah, y'all came in and said y'all couldn't get anybody to
Nobody
work the
wanted to
polls,
do
we
it.
couldn't open them all, cause y'all just couldn't get people, but when we came up with $2.50, it worked.
Yep, and it's more attractive, so now, you know, folks are wanting to come in and do that job, I actually have extras, so, you know, that worked. You know, you had ESS had to come and fix the voter registration problem, there was a cost incurred with that, there was,
That's not been paid
That's
yet.
not been paid. That's
hasn't
not
been paid
charged.
yet?
They just came last Thursday and Friday. No, it's not been paid. It's not on that budget sheet, I can assure you.
Okay, you know, these are things that are gonna happen every once in a while, it's not something that's gonna happen every time, you know, so, it's kind of impossible to budget unless you guys have a reserve, you know, to cover stuff like that, you know, in the situation where those costs would arise.
The biggest.
Well, so if I come to the Quorum Court and told them my office was over budget by $18,000 and I tell them it's impossible to budget my office, we've always budgeted for the election.
Right.
We've always done a pretty good job. We've
impossible?
always stayed within our budget. I don't think y'all ever looked at the budget and realized what y'all had to spend. Y'all blown it plumb out of the water. How much did y'all ask for in reimbursements? Can you tell me that? We
No.
spent $120,000 today.
I didn't do the
$120,000
reimbursement, so I don't know.
today. How much did you ask for from the state?
58,000
58.
on the, regular primary, I can't remember what the runoff
So
was.
half.
But if you look, all the money is on your workers. It's not on, we're not blowing money on frivolous stuff, it's the personal services, which I assume is the, poll workers.
Every time we train somebody, it costs us too. Every time we go through this, that's another thing that everybody needs to remember.
We're required by the state to train.
I understand, but every time we switch who's in charge, which we have done 2 or 3 times, right? Did you have to go to a different training when you became the election coordinator?
I am scheduled to be trained.
Okay, and that's gonna cost us. But what I'm saying is, every time we switch that person, it's an added expense.
Well,
You know, we went with Becky for years and we didn't have to send her for extra training because she was, you know, she had this recertification and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, the only thing you're gonna pay her, I think the only thing you're gonna pay her for is mileage, I think the state trained her.
Okay,
You know, so the only thing you're gonna pay her for is her mileage getting there.
that's it, okay.
You know, when I went for coordinator training,
No.
election commissioner training, excuse me, I was supposed to get mileage, I got an email said the state gave you the money for it, and I never got it. So, and I could show you.
You never got paid?
We got it.
Never got paid for the mileage. So, that's what I'm hoping that we can resolve here tonight, because a lot of that stuff, if you get it in the reimbursement, you're gonna get it back. The mileage that we get as commissioners to go to those polling places and set up those polling places is something that we're supposed to be able to claim from the county. And the state reimburses you for it, when we put it in at the end. So, you know, it's not a cost that's gonna be incurred by the county.
All I'm saying is you just told us that we're only gonna get 50% of what y'all spent in the primary back from the state. That's just what you told me, 58,000 is what we put in for. We spent 120. We still gotta go through a general election. This is the most we've ever spent in an election, ever.
Actually, I'm looking on here, I got somebody commenting, it's 68K, that's what you get, about 68.
I thought she was the election coordinator. I thought she was the election coordinator.
And
Did you not do the reimbursement?
I did, and if you will listen 1 minute, I
Okay.
said there was 58,000 on the primary itself. I didn't remember what the runoff, it was something on 10,000,
Okay.
so that would be about 68. Did I not go into your office one time and you
You
told
did.
me, at this time, even today, there's someone being paid on a courthouse, within the courthouse budget to help us, that it was budgeted for, there was a person supposed to be helping.
No, what I told you was that we lost a half a position
Okay,
because the election coordinators used to use Becky
okay,
because that position wasn't a full-time position. So they used her other half of her position as the election coordinator,
okay.
which worked. It worked for everybody. But y'all went away from that. So that position's still a full-time position, but yet now we're having to pay a half of the position for the election coordinator because y'all chose to go outside the county employee. So that position is no longer at the county, not readily available. Nobody can come to the courthouse Monday through Friday and talk to that person about elections because it's somebody off over wherever.
Okay.
It doesn't work for us. That's what I told you.
Okay, I misunderstood.
It just doesn't work.
I thought there was someone who
Okay,
had
all right,
that.
let's get back to the ordinance. Quorum Court, do y'all want this read and to vote on it, or what do y'all want to do?
I think we should pay the $125 and get the commissioners paid. I do think we ought to do that. I'm not sure about this other $15 an hour for them to go do all the other stuff that we've never had to pay before, especially when we're that far out of budget. And we're fixing to be, if it costs, if the numbers are out there quoting, we're getting $68,000 back, we spent 120 so far. So that's gonna leave us with $50,000 in debt. We have another election to go, and he said it was gonna cost 120 to do that, so that's gonna be $170,000. And we budgeted 100, is that correct? So we're gonna be $70,000 out of budget. The best, I mean, if those numbers that everyone's spouting out are correct, and I don't know if they are, I do think we need to pay this $125 per meeting, because that's what it says in the law, and I think we need to do that. This extra, I don't know if we need to pay this $15 an hour, up to 40 hours, per election cycle times 5 of them, 200 hours, just 3 different people. I don't know if we need to do that section of it, the section 4, but I do think that section 3, we need to pay these people their $125 or whatever that section is.
Okay, that includes section 3 free, or the mandatory $300 per meeting? How many meetings has there been this year? Out of curiosity.
I believe we had 10 for the primary. We've had 2.
And them are state mandated. I mean, they have to have it. Yes. No matter if there's anybody running or not, the state tells them what meetings they have to have.
You have to have.
Was early voting, was it different this year? I mean, is that mandated by the state? How long that's gotta, I didn't know, maybe trying to figure out how we're over budget so bad.
It just states that you have to have there has to be one early voting site per county. Now, we have 3 cities. Just, there's a lot of stuff going on in Horseshoe. You got all them, I think everybody's running over there right now. So,
Have we always, I'm not trying to grapple with it, I'm really not, I'm just trying, have we always had 3?
No.
I'm trying to figure out how the budget could be so out of kilter.
Why are we
I mean,
having?
cause I know Calico, when they go about Pineville, there's nobody at that early voting.
Benefits for voters.
But early voting is a benefit, we've got, however many.
Yes. And they've always had at least one early voting site.
I understand.
But they've decided in the past to open it up in other areas if there's a contested race or lots of races.
I wonder what that would cost, I mean, what would it cost, I wonder if it's
That's part of it.
Well, you take a week.
Because
I'm trying to figure out where it's going, I mean, we
got
can't be $3.50 and then we're up
40 hours.
60,000, I don't see how that works.
40 hours a week, probably, so $15 an hour.
How long was that open for, do you know? How long was early
And
voting
2
open?
additional spots, you've got 6
At least a
people
week.
and 2 additional.
So we got 6 people there paying $15 an hour for a week.
Times 2.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 days, a full week.
I got you.
No, 6 days, excuse me, Monday to
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, it's a 6.
They're not doing that.
No, it's just in the big cities.
Yeah, it wasn't us that, it's the state that tells us that you have to have 2 weeks early.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out.
And you got
Who decided 3 spots?
the 2 major, the population. You got the biggest population in the county is in Horseshoe Bend.
And Melbourne,
All right, so we opened
2 weeks,
Horseshoe Bend and Melbourne
for 2 weeks.
and Ozarka. And then
Calico Rock was open for 1 week.
How long is Melbourne open in Horseshoe?
2 weeks.
2 weeks early voting.
I mean, at what point
2 weeks
you
of
try to
early
stay
voting,
within
that's the state mandate.
Yes, sir, I'm just trying to figure out what that, how we got.
And what this gentleman said about, $15 an hour for up to 40 hours for the commissioners, that's all reimbursed by the state. It's not coming out of your budget. That's from the state.
Only in the primary.
Only in the primary. Yeah, we got another election to go here. Yeah, so just one of them, we covered
Are
one.
you asking us to take it easy on you?
Huh?
You asking us to take it easy on you? I'm making a joke.
Oh, I missed it.
It's not, it's a necessary to get it to the point where the state wants it.
So we gotta worry about budget. I mean, we can't just.
Well, they're not worried about it.
But we have to, I mean, that's, our deal is we gotta worry about the budget and do what's legal. And I do think we need to pay the $125 per meeting. I don't know if we need to like vote on that tonight or not vote on that tonight or whatever, but I mean, that says that's mandatory, we should do that. Or that we have to do that, and I think we should, 100%. I think they need to get paid, get reimbursed. But we gotta worry about the budget at some point.
What's being asked for here that's not mandatory? Anything?
No. No, it's all shall, y'all have to do this, the county has to do this. I mean, I get it, y'all are out of budget, y'all are the ones left with the problem here, nobody else. So I understand your frustration, that's why I tried to facilitate some kind of maybe negotiation between y'all and the election, commission to maybe save the county money. It sounds like y'all's problem is with the three people that are running the elections. And I think it's pretty clear for me to hear it, it's obvious where the extra money is going. It's going to these new polling places that are open. And I mean, that could be, I believe, over 1,500, maybe 1,600, 1,700 a day. Is that right, David? I mean, it's for two, I mean, it's gotta be that much. And
I
then
didn't do the math,
you
so if
take
you got
that
six
by,
people.
take that by 10 days. Well, no, you've got how many days?
That's 2 weeks, that one is 2 weeks, right,
Two
Taco's
weeks,
one.
so that's 12 days. So you multiply that by 12, you're gonna be pushing $20,000 or more. So I think that is a very large chunk of where it's going. And I don't know, I think that's under their control to do that. Who appoints or elects the commission?
I believe each poll worker is 11 hours during the week.
It used to be
early voting.
years ago,
But there's different days that have different hours, like Saturday, it's only 8 to 4:30. But the basic, I believe it's, 10 hours. 10 hours a day, so each person early voting during Monday through Friday, it's $150 a person times 6 each day. So that's, $900. $900 a day for the poll workers at early voting.
$5,400 Calico, that'd be.
But you're getting back all the $250 an hour from the state.
We are during the one coming up, we're not getting reimbursed. No, we're not getting anything, that's what I'm telling you, we're fixing to be out another $120,000, and we're not getting reimbursed from it. We only get reimbursed for that one, that's the concern, is we're fixing to be like bad out of budget, and we're not.
I hear you.
I'm just trying to figure out what we do.
Yeah, I hear you. And
But by this, we're adding money to it, that's my, it's gonna cost us more money when we pass this, on top of what we're already out of budget. I hate to budget more money for something when you're already out of budget,
yeah. I'm not gonna run my house like that.
Yeah, that's the deal, I mean, you can't go out and say, we're just gonna spend more money.
Yeah, I got you.
So I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know how we gotta get this wrapped up.
This is gonna be a pretty big election.
Yeah, it's gonna cost a lot of money. My deal is I'm trying to figure out how to get it wrapped back into where it costs us $100,000 to do an election instead of $240,000 to do an election. That's what we went to. And I went through this several years ago, and I dug through everything there was, and we got it cut back down. But we were doing some crazy things then too. So I don't know. I don't know.
So just so you guys understand where I'm coming from. County General, and y'all sat here last year during budget season, y'all wanted to give everybody a raise, and they needed it. Cost of living, inflation, everything going up. Our insurance went up 17%. Our building insurance, our vehicle insurance went up 28%. I told y'all County General's gonna be stretched. Okay? The way County General works, the summer months are pretty lean. There's no taxes really coming in. So June, July, and August and September are pretty lean. I think this morning there was $60,000 in our county general budget, which is normal. But I'm sitting on a $120,000 election bill, and I've not got a dime back from it. If I can get that $70,000 back, it would sure soften that blow a little bit. That's where I'm coming from. I'm looking at real numbers. And I thought that's why we had a budget, is so people could try to stay within those budgets. Now, I honestly feel like our election commissioners don't care about that budget. They're gonna spend whatever they want to.
So
And we just gotta make it up on the back end.
So how do we resolve that issue?
I don't
We're
know.
going to really, I mean,
We need to buckle down and work together.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we need to try to come
They're all-
together.
and
That's all.
it's all guesswork.
We have no regime.
It's all guesswork.
Well,
But
you
you
know,
made it 20,000 more than it ever was.
Yep,
I mean, I think that's great, except for
it didn't work.
your $100.
I mean, in all these meetings that we have, when we talk about a budget, and we're just opening more poll sites and we're rocking on.
we're doing what the state is telling us.
The state doesn't require you to open 2 more sites.
We didn't open extra sites. This is the way it's been,
For early voting?
to the best of my
how did
knowledge.
it cost?
Correct.
I thought you said, well, no, it cost more because we opened more sites this year.
No, it's been the same as it was last year.
We didn't.
So how come it costs more money?
That's what I'm trying to,
That's what I don't
when you figure
understand.
that out, maybe I'd understand.
Well, the
more.
$15 came into effect this year.
That's
We
right.
didn't pay, except for the end of the general, yes,
We paid for half of it last year.
yes, the general last year. But I guess we had enough padding in that budget, it didn't affect it, I don't know. But
I guess that's my only thing, I wish we just knew, it's like your home expenses, I mean, you gotta know,
Yeah.
where's it going, how we get where we're at, you know what I mean?
I don't know if they were required to have 2 supervisors and 4 workers at every site before. I do not know that. That could possibly be an added expense. I do not know what the regulations were.
when you had all your poll workers up here for training, you paid every one of them for coming to training, even if they don't.
The ones that got selected to work
No.
received.
All the ones I stood up there, they didn't pay.
The ones that got
They
selected
didn't have
to
enough.
work.
I asked
received
requested to get,
$25.
I got some. They didn't pay the 2 or 3 that I stood up here. They didn't pick them nor pay. Which is fine.
If you didn't work, you didn't get paid for the training.
Okay.
So only the ones that got picked to work got paid for the training.
But that was last year, that wasn't in this year's
No.
budget.
No,
That
that
ain't
was
got nothing
last
to do with this year, that was last year.
You know, there was some equipment that we bought. We bought new poll books, we bought a new tabulator, the county did.
Is that all supposed to be reimbursed?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's in there and you just didn't get it back yet. You know, the state, hopefully Warren does a better job than the state does. They're slow. You know, so, that's something we can't do nothing about. The other thing I wanna mention, you know, you have, Ray Nell here working as the election coordinator. You're not paying her benefits, you're not paying her insurance, you're not paying her all that stuff that you would pay a county employee, so she's actually saving you money.
We're already paying the
We're
county
already paying
employee
that
that.
position. It's
We're already paying
downstairs.
someone that, we can add that to that person. See what I'm saying? We can give a stipend of $5,000 and it saves us $2,500. You know, we can pay a stipend of $5,000 for somebody that works in the county already to do that position, and that would save us $2,500 or whatever we pay. I don't know what we're paying now. You know what you're getting paid? You know what your salary
It's
is?
$500 a month, isn't it?
It has-
78, I
It has
think.
taxes taken out, so I don't know what percentage it is.
I think it's 78.
$7,800 a year, you save $2,800.
So there is someone already being paid.
There was someone being paid to do that job.
Okay, you're saying if it reverted back to that.
It reverted back to it. Yes, we were paying someone to do that job. We continued to pay that person and now paying someone over here on the side $7,500 also, or $7,800. You see what I'm saying? We were paying someone to do that position. Then whenever she quit, whenever she left, she got a new job. Whenever she left, we paid someone on the side and we never took this away over here where we were paying somebody to do it, which is our fault. We should have deducted, but that's not really the way. Didn't know exactly how that was going down. I mean, you would have had to have been here to understand how that all shook out.
Warren, is there a way we can see what's happened? From what's
An itemized
going on this
thing?
year, what,
Yeah, I can give you a transaction report of every dime ever spent for the last,
something should jump out.
Can you give us one from last year and this year? So we can
well,
compare?
last year wasn't a big election year, so you'd wanna go to 2022 and
Can we do that?
2020. But I go back to 2020 was the last presidential election, which should have been the last big election. And she's got the paperwork right there. It was $58,000 is what it cost us.
You know,
And now I know inflation's been in place and over the last 4 years it's grown a lot. But we go from 58,000 for a whole year and we spend 120 for a primary.
you know, the other thing
Something's
is,
wrong.
58,000 after reimbursements from the state?
No, that we spent 58,000 for the whole year. That reimbursement doesn't go back into your budget.
Okay.
$58,000 what we spent in 2020 for the presidential election. We spent 120 and we
For
not
the primary and the whole
Yes,
year?
the whole year.
Quadruple.
Will you prepare for the Quorum Court a document that shows an itemized list of all expenses in 2020, and then an itemized list of all expenses up to through present day?
I think that's where I'm at with this whole thing, y'all. If we can just figure out,
And there is state laws that have changed that made them, you know, more employees at the polling site, stuff like that. Or raised, I mean, that did, I know it's $2.50 an hour, but that.
Yeah. No, it adds
A lot
up.
of polling places, it did.
Yeah, it adds up. No, I agree.
there was also a lot of voter registration issues that needed to be rectified too. We had to bring in a specialist for that. That was an expense, added
Which
expense.
has not been paid for.
So it's fixing to be more really than what.
Yeah.
is that reimbursable or no?
No, it's fixing to be more expensive than what we're even talking about.
Now, everything's going up. And it's like Warren said, everything's gone up 17.
It is going up, but at the same time, it's everybody's duty, whatever office you're in charge of, it's your duty to know what your budget is and to be a little bit frugal. I think there's ways that we can get through this without spending $120,000 in primary.
Do y'all
I
disagree
don't
with
think that y'all have ever, as the commissioners, I don't think y'all have ever looked at your budget. Y'all just, it's an empty pocket, however much, whatever.
Never been presented the budget before.
Have you ever asked for it?
No, sir.
Okay.
We do one every year. We pass it in December.
That's what I'm getting at, is
I mean-
come 2026, and we're gonna have to budget $240,000 for an election, we're gonna have to cut it somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's no money, there's not enough raise.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's gonna be the problem, is that we're not gonna be able to give a cost of living raise to the employees, because we don't have an extra
That'll
$200,000.
go over real well.
I mean, that'll go over real great. I mean, we don't have an extra $150,000 laying around to get raises with, because we had to take it out of this to put it in that.
So then on behalf of the Quorum Court, what is the election commission's solution to this? Because it sounds to me like you can save the county, and you're already over budget, you can save the county $20-something thousand if you don't have all of these early voting places open that are not required by Arkansas law. Arkansas does not say y'all have to do this. Y'all have decided to do this. The
We
three
did
of
not-
y'all, I
we
believe,
didn't
have
decide
decided.
it. We didn't decide it this year, it was already decided. If it's not a law, that's the possibility of the cutting maybe to 1 week instead of 2 weeks at 2 of the.
I think we need to look, and listen, it's not my job to do, to tell y'all what to do, but it is my job to keep a budget. But maybe that's something we can look at, is whether or not we could cut it to 1 week instead of 2, and maybe we could, and I don't wanna cut polling sites.
It's gotta be 2.
Gotta be 2, does it have to be 3 sites open?
No, there's not 3 sites open.
How many sites gotta be open? 1?
You know, we can look into, what the state says about early voting, and if we can cut down to 1 site for 2 weeks,
That might,
and not open the second and third until the second week of early voting,
right.
you know, that'll save you, I don't know, $10,000.
But that's a long ways from the 100 and something that we're at. That's what I'm struggling with. You know, there's gotta be something else. I mean, maybe
What
all
would
that.
be wrong with just having 1 early voting site in the county? Make it somewhat centralized. You know, I mean, the
Yeah.
courthouse is here in Melbourne, let's have it. Ozark is the best facility.
That's not the way it's always been.
I mean, because, yeah, and here's the thing, like at Horseshoe Bend, we have to pay somebody over there to rent their place for 2 weeks.
We pay Ozarka, we pay every polling place.
We don't pay Ozarka.
Yes, we're supposed to.
No, ma'am, we don't. We do not pay. Ozarka's never sent us a
I
bill
heard
for
from
election.
the United Methodist Church that they haven't gotten paid for the last 2 elections.
Well, Ozarka's never done to us for having a polling site there. I mean, I think you have one site for early voting. If people, I mean, if they can't drive to Melbourne, then just wait till election day.
Well,
I mean, that
As-
suffices with the state.
You have 2 weeks.
as the election commission, what we'll look at is we'll look at where the races are and where the population is, and right now it's in Horseshoe Bend, so if 2 weeks of early voting's gonna happen, that's where it's gonna happen. And then we'll probably, if we can, we'll cut Ozarka down to 1 week, because, you know, if that's what you wanna do. But we don't know if we can do that until we look at the law.
Are we gonna table this ordinance again, or are we moving? It's time to move forward, I think, don't you? Or y'all have more discussion, or?
Bradley, what are we thinking, Bradley, for real? I know we gotta pay the 125, but like you were saying, we need to pay, what are you thinking?
You gotta pay it all, I mean, you're gonna have to.
You don't have to pay
There is.
$15 a month, right?
You don't?
God said, you have to pay 15, can you pay $12.50, can you pay
No,
the?
I don't, that's not what mine says.
Okay.
I printed out 74111, compensation of board members, and, you can pay them more than 15. And this is subsection, or anyway, I printed this off, this is Arkansas law, that each member of a county board of election commissioners shall receive compensation in an amount not less than $15 per hour worked outside of a public meeting, subject to the following limitations. And this is word for word in the ordinance, and y'all can supply that person, but the problem is, the election commission, there's no way they're gonna agree on whoever y'all vote on. Whoever y'all appoint, because, I mean, y'all asked Ms. Raylene what the directives are, and, I mean, you didn't even tell them. I mean, it would be helpful if you would just tell them what the directives are.
What directives is what?
That's what the state law says, is that this county employee has to follow the direction, or actually directives of the election commission. And if you would share what those directives are, maybe y'all could find that person to do that. You did it for years and years and years.
Here's my deal, is I'll let them pick. I mean, if they can't find someone suitable within the county that works for us currently, I don't know what we can do to, I mean, anybody they think that's suitable inside the county, that already works for the county. And that's pretty open. That's given like a whole lot of, you got all the power, pick who you want, but it's someone that we're already paying is what I'm trying to go for. And someone that I can go to and talk to tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
But I think you're still gonna have to pay the election board commissioners.
Correct.
To go out to all these polling sites.
Yeah.
They're still gonna get reimbursed this $15 an hour.
Yeah.
No matter, I mean, some of them, cause they'll have to go out to the polling sites.
Unless
their
their
hours are gonna be way less.
Because the election coordinator's gonna take care of the person inside the county here. We're gonna have Billy go do a lot of those things, and that person's gonna do a lot of those things. What I'm saying is, I think it saves us money. It did for a long time.
It sounds like to me we're at the mercy of whatever they wanna do.
You
And it
are.
costs it what it costs. And that's kind of the standpoint from,
Well, it's not us, it's the state.
I don't, I understand what you're saying, but I don't feel like, I don't feel good about you saying that.
Okay, well, personally, I did not turn in the $15 an hour charge for extra work.
Well, that's really good, because we're paying you $7,800 a year to do it. I appreciate you not turning that in on
Yeah,
top
well,
of
I
it.
had 119 that I even kept track of, and then just dropped it. So,
119
the
out of
coordinator-
7,800 is quite a bit.
I just feel like we can feel better about it when we see what we asked for. And I don't know how that solves it, but
Just be interesting to look at.
I would like to know where we went from here to here and how it quadrupled.
Where are we at legally now, Brad, as far as, I mean,
If you're out of
$20,000
compliance,
doesn't.
it gotta be done tonight though, or we wait again, I mean, I don't know what we do.
I think you need to do it as soon as possible. It's gonna have to be my advice.
You see where we're at though, it's hard, we don't know.
Well, of
Like,
course,
you just
I
throwing
mean,
something away, and we don't know where it's going.
you have got an election commission who is going way past your budget, and all you can do is not pay them. That's your power, is to withhold the money, and that's what you're doing. So, we're at I think it's called gridlock, when you have government, it's where you're in a gridlock right now. You're not paying them, and they're not willing to let a county employee do some of the things, and they're saying, well, we're gonna move it from Melbourne to Horseshoe Bend, and you've got all this going on, so you've got a real problem.
Can we pay it though?
I don't
Are we
think you
willing
have
to
the
pay it?
money.
You know what I'm trying to say,
You're
though? I
obligated.
mean, it's easy to say,
You're obligated to pay it, that's what they have to be paid, but, you know, I don't know, I think this goes back to Warren's, what you were pointing out, that I wasn't quite following yet, cause you hadn't made your point about how out of compliance with the budget they were, but, you know, you said, what if the county can't pay it?
That's a real possibility.
Well, sure, when you're that far out of compliance with the budget, and, you know, y'all deserve to have known about this way before now.
last week, somebody said, I think it
You
was,
should know
Brett
about
said
this
$6,000 over budget or something, it was like $6,000 or something. That didn't get me too excited, but then we start talking about,
Well, when you're $6,000 over budget, and you still got another election that's gonna cost
Yeah.
you just as much. That's what I don't think you understood, was we're just halfway through this deal.
I didn't know that, they wouldn't reimburse for I didn't understand how that all worked.
And I'm still confused on what the law that you're reading, because what I read is just what the state of Arkansas come out with, that says, this is what we're gonna reimburse the counties. This is what they're eligible to be reimbursed, and that's where the $125 per meeting, and that's where the $40, and I'm all for that if the state's gonna reimburse us. I mean, that's free money, give them all they can. That's what I read in the code that I have. So maybe I'm confused, and maybe I should have talked to you beforehand, I don't know, but.
Well, I wish you would've, and you can, you're not a part of this governing body, so
Right.
you certainly can, and you can do that privately also. You can contact me privately. That's not subject to FOIA, because this would not be something you and I were talking about that would affect how you voted on any of this.
Right. I just read it different than you did, and like I said, I won't give them all that we can give them. But at the same time, as a county treasurer, I know what's in the coffers. And I have,
Well, and
that's my job.
And you've got to tell the Quorum Court that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a situation where it's gotten out of hand. It's gotten way out of hand.
In the perfect world, I'd like to see those comparisons, and get an idea, and it's like we're no time constraint here, time constraint, so I don't know.
I mean, you've been out of compliance technically since, I guess, July of last year, because this was passed in 2023. I don't know, what are y'all gonna sue the Quorum Court if it doesn't get passed tonight? I don't know,
You know, you said it yourself, they're out of compliance, they need to be brought back into compliance.
I agree, and we've got a budget, you need to remember, and y'all are out of you're out of our budget, the budget that y'all submitted. I mean, we're out of the election, you're out of the budget, we're in charge of the money, and you've blown it, like way out here, so we gotta reel things back in. It's not just do whatever you want, and that's what we've been doing the last year or
It's
two.
not doing whatever we want, it's being in compliance with state law.
There's not any, you don't think you've had any waste in there?
Not that I can see.
David, you're not required to have all these places open. Now, if you choose for the only place in the county to be in Horseshoe Bend, then that's just what it's gonna be.
There's also municipal races in Horseshoe Bend that you're gonna get reimbursed from Horseshoe Bend for.
But if the county hadn't got the money to pay, I mean, the county doesn't get that money, you're in control of when the county gets the money, David.
Yeah,
Cause
no,
you
I
have to
know.
it has to be certified to the state before the county is even eligible to get it back, so I don't.
Have you got everything sent to the state for us to get reimbursed?
It
When
was
did you send it in?
It was sent in and I have called them and asked them if there was a problem, and they said, you're in the pile.
Yeah, when did Justin do that?
Well, we didn't make the budget, I believe the county judge made the budget.
He did, he made it $20,000 more than it's ever been, and now you're $120,000 over that.
Well, when you get your reimbursement back, are you still gonna be 120 over that?
Yes, because you said it's gonna cost just as much to have the next election, correct? You said it's gonna cost, so that's $120,000.
If there's not a runoff.
If there's nothing wrong, we're at 120,000 and we're getting 60 back, so we're gonna be at 70 back. So we're gonna be at we're gonna be $70,000 over budget. I mean,
Well, and here's how county budget works. We don't budget the budget and say, well, we're gonna get reimbursed for 70,000, so we're gonna overshoot our budget. We know that money doesn't actually go back into your budget. Your budget is what you set for the year. That's what you're supposed to, and it is an educated guess, but I'd like for everybody to stay pretty close to it. I mean, if every office in the county overshot their budget as much as y'all did this year, we'd be broke.
okay, when did y'all send the reimbursement in?
I have to look at the paperwork, I don't have it with me.
About a month ago. More than a month ago.
We had to have it in by end of June, or June 1st, something, I don't know.
June. Yeah, 2 months ago. More than 2 months ago.
But if you're gonna just table, that's the next meeting. We're gonna go back and pay them $125 for every meeting.
Yeah, I think we have to pay them that regardless.
Yeah.
I don't have a
I
problem
mean,
paying them
from the past meeting.
125. Yeah, that's what we need. I just hate to, maybe we should go ahead and, it says that if we got to, we got to. We can go ahead and sign up, pay them this extra money, and we'll just blow our budget a little more. I mean, according to Brad, we got to. I mean, if that's what we gotta do, hey, but as long as the public knows what's happened, that we're this far out of budget, it's not that we done it, it's that they come asking for more money instead of just doing the work, because that's what you signed up for, that we won't pay, we won't be sure we get everything we can get for it. You know, we need $15 an hour for this, and I've kept up with my hours for this.
Where's the checks and balances after this?
And they sue the Quorum Court.
I mean, how do we fix this moving forward?
You don't budget. You budgeted an amount, and it's over budget now. So you don't have to budget any more money. You don't have to pay anything over that budget. That's where the, I guess, the check and balance is. Their power is that they can say, okay, we're gonna take it from Melbourne and we're gonna put it in Horseshoe Bend. Or we're gonna open a bunch of different polling places up, and then if the Quorum Court doesn't pass, then shame on the Quorum Court. And then you guys can say, well, shame on them for putting it in all these places when everybody could just go to one central location, stop blowing the money, we're not paying you anymore. So you're in a situation, you're just in a gridlock. And you can't, you're not even close to being in agreement. Because what I'm hearing from the Quorum Court is you just want one place, but I don't think the election commission's wanting to do that. I think they're wanting to have 3 places.
You know, and I think during the polling time, or during the election day, I think all them places need to be open, and I'll fight for every one of them small towns to have the polling side open.
But perhaps y'all need to attend the meetings. Have y'all ever attended any other meetings?
I've never heard when they are. So, yeah, I have.
Maybe y'all should attend the meetings and make sure they're earning their $15,
They're 125.
or their 125, and then on the outside of a public meeting, Warren should be able to give you I assume they're submitting, dates and times, and things like that, and what they're doing. You should get that from Warren.
You have to advertise every time you have a meeting, right?
If possible.
If
possible. Sometimes there are emergency meetings.
Sometimes there's meetings that have to happen quick, emergency meeting. you know, you put it out on social media 3 hours before you have it or something like that. But,
What's an example of that?
you know, regular meetings where we do a ballot draw and stuff.
What's an
like that.
example of an emergency meeting, we gotta have a meeting at 2
In
hours?
the primary, in